Hello, writers. Today, we're going to be writing to grow ideas. Specifically, we're going to be zooming in on specific parts and details of our stories to help grow those ideas. So let's talk about our strategy. Writers of literary essays reread their stories and zoom in on specific parts or details of the text that feel odd or important to help them grow their ideas and support their thesis claim. So let's model what this looks like. So let's look at our anchor chart before we look at our mentor text. So we're going to be growing our ideas by focusing on details. The first step is to read your text again, looking for small specific details or parts that feel important. Ask yourself, how does this part contribute to what the story is trying to teach me? Then ask yourself, does this part of the story support my thesis? And if it does, add it to your bullets as evidence in your literary essay. So now let's take a look at our mentor text, which is from the story Fly Away Home by Eve Bunting. You should know this story. In this story, a boy named Andrew and his father, they live in an airport and they try and stay hidden, okay, so that they don't get caught. Andrew's mother died and they are homeless living in an airport. So rather than read the whole story, we're picking up in the middle. Everything in the airport is on the move. Passengers, pilots, flight attendants, cleaner with their brooms. Jets roar in close to the windows. Other jets roar out. Luggage bounces down chutes. Escalators glide up and down, disappearing floors. Everyone's going somewhere except Dad and me. We stay. Once, a little brown bird got into the main terminal and couldn't get out. It fluttered in the high, hollow spaces. It threw itself at the glass, fell panting on the floor, flew to a tall metal girder, and perched there, exhausted. "Don't stop trying," I told it silently. "Don't! You can get out." For days, the bird flew around, dragging one wing, and then it found the instant when a sliding door was open and slipped through. I watched it rise. Its wings seemed okay. "Fly, bird," I whispered. "Fly away home." Though I couldn't hear it, I knew it was singing. Nothing made me as happy as that bird. The airport's busy and noisy even at night. Dad and I sleep anyway. When it gets quiet, between 2 and 4 a.m., we wake up. So I want to take a minute and I want to stop and I want to think. So we had this story. It's about Andrew and his dad and talking about the airport. And then all of a sudden, there's this part about the bird that comes in. And I wonder to myself, why did the author include this part about the bird? How does this part contribute to what this story is trying to teach me? Okay, so I have to think a little bit more about what's happening. So my thesis for this story, here's my thesis for my literary essay. The story Fly Away Home by Eve Bunting teaches us not to give up, even when life seems really hard. So I think that's the lesson that the story is teaching us. And I have two boxes. The first box is going to be how it teaches us about hope through Andrew and how to not give up through Andrew's actions. Then it teaches us about hope and not giving up through Andrew's dad. And I think more about this bird. And then wait a second, it hits me that this bird also teaches us about hope. Andrew says, "Don't stop trying. I told it silently. Don't. You can get out." And then the story says, for days, the bird flew around, dragging one wing. And then it found the instant when a sliding door was open and slipped through. I watched it rise. Its wings seemed okay. So even the bird is not giving out, not giving up. And then not only do I have the two boxes, one about Andrew not giving up, the other about Andrew's dad not giving up, but I now also have a third box. And so now I have this third box where the story teaches us about hope through the actions of the bird. The bird doesn't give up. So when I was close reading this story, this one part that's about the bird, it seemed interesting and odd that the author would put in a story about the bird. This gave me a whole nother group of evidence that I can use as boxes and bullets. So now you're going to try. You're going to grow your ideas by focusing on details. Here's what I want you to do. Read your text again, looking for small specific details or parts that feel important. Ask yourself, how does this part contribute to what the story is trying to teach me? And ask yourself, does this part of the story support my thesis? And if it does, add it to your bullets as evidence in your literary essay. Go ahead, writers.